All I want any recruiter to know is that I'm so much more than just my resume. LOL! Come on! We both know that all these recruitment platforms are only designed for the companies to get what they want. They don't care about candidates like us. Not all, buddy. Have you heard of TAG?
Karan Roy, data scientist. Tag score 96%. Interesting.
That's me. And thanks to TAG, now she knows all about my functional, behavioral, technical, and all other relevant skills. TAG indeed is a game changer for me. When I signed up for it, it created this structured, validated, and enriched profile mapped across my numerous skills, knowledge base, and work experience, and created a score. My TAG score. The score and profiling help me present my best professional version to any employer. They can easily find what they need, and if I'm the right fit, my profile shows up instantly. This way, TAG not only helps candidates like me land their dream jobs, but also figure out where they stand amongst their peers and also identify the areas they need to work on.
Wow, this is just the kind of candidate I need. I like how detailed his profile is. Should I even interview this guy?
See, this is how TAG is bringing clarity, communication, and dignity back for us candidates. It also gives me an access to community of peers, career circles, thousands of jobs, and marquee employers like her to further aid my career growth. Are you kidding me? Did you just get hired within minutes?
Good afternoon, friends. Welcome again to our new episode of Career Circle live session. It's our pleasure to host you again. As we promise every time, we are back again with a very interesting topic of exploring opportunities within Ingram Micro. Ingram Micro would not need much introduction, but yes, I think we'll cover more as we move forward. For all the peers who are joining this event for the first time, I just want to give a brief context as to what is this event all about and what do we plan to do in next about 45 minutes of time. So Career Circle Live, this interesting name, is the LinkedIn Live session powered by TAG. The idea is to finally bring the esteemed employers and the industry leaders from the market, get them connected to the industry aspirants who plan to pursue career in the same organization and the same industry, and enable them to have a dialogue to finally get the entire information enriched and have a better awareness about the opportunities in place. With that, in next 45 minutes of time, we'll cover the entire paradigm of what is Ingram Micro all about, what opportunities do we have there, and I would also say you may have a crash course of cracking the interview process of this company and joining this one of the esteemed organizations very soon. With that, I'm going to welcome our esteemed co-panelist and our guest, Mr. Anil Tari. Anil Tari is one of the senior leader managing the SAP Global COE function with Ingram Micro. Anil, if you're there, thank you for joining us and pleasure to have you here.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Vishal, for the introduction. Let me give some more information about me. I'm basically an engineering graduate, and then I spent some time in typical being a metallurgist. I spent time in steel industry for a few years, and then obviously typically you'll see in the era of around 98 to 2000, okay, people used to have this crush for IT, right? And similarly, when I had this inclination of moving towards IT, and that's how I got into IT. I did some courses on SAP, got into SAP, and began my career journey in IT industry. Last 28 years now, I'm in IT industry, working with multiple IT organizations, both in IT services as well as global delivery centers. Last 8 years, I'm working with Ingram Micro as a director IS, mainly focusing on SAP, but also also in other technologies, as well as global projects and implementations. I'm also part of the managing council for managing the Ingram Micro India Shared Service Center. So this is my brief introduction. Vishal, as you said, right, talking about Ingram Micro, right?
Yeah.
So, and many of you have heard about Ingram Micro somewhere or other, but at the same time, we are not a typical B2C company, okay? And that's why we don't see Ingram Micro everywhere on advertisement or, on TV and here and there, or we don't hear this name. But if you look at the corporate world, if you look at the industry world, everybody knows Ingram Micro. And why it is so? Because Ingram Micro is a global leader in distribution and logistics of IT products. Okay, and I specifically said it's IT products because obviously there are so many distribution logistics companies working in different domains, right? There could be in electronics, footwear, food products. There are so many different areas. We specifically focus on IT products. So IT products is basically your hardware and software and all of these things, right? When we say distribution and logistics, okay, so what it means, we manage the complete supply chain of IT products, okay, both hardware and software, starting from our OEMs, okay, who make these hardwares or softwares to all our retailers, and customers, okay, who in turn sell to the end customers like you and me. Okay, so that's where the complete supply chain comes into picture. That does not mean that we are not a typical courier company. Okay, because we manage supply chain, we plan supply chain. Okay, we have 134 plus, okay, logistics centers globally. Okay, through which wherein we manage, through which we do all the buying and selling, okay, and the stocking of our products, okay, and from there they are sent to all the countries where Ingram Micro operates. Okay, we have a sales operations in more than 200 countries. Okay, so that's our core business. Okay, so from a business point of view, it is basically our sales and warehouse functions, these are core functions, right? Now, many people talk about, okay, it is typically IT. So are we only handling IT products, IT software, and also IT services? Yes, while we do a distribution of all of these, at the same time, to manage our own business, okay, we also need uh, our own IT operations, right? Our own IT support. And that's why we have got a lot of different IT applications in our portfolio, okay, and a big IT team which is helping us to do this, to manage all these IT operations. And that's why while we have one side a typical supply chain business, warehouse management, supply chain business on one side, there we also have a big IT team supporting our business. Okay? And that's why it is both IT and non-IT teams operating together, okay, for Ingram Micro. Okay, in Ingram Micro India, we have got two, three different divisions, okay, which is focusing on the core business of our supply chain and logistics of IT products. At the same time, we also have a big team which helps supporting Ingram Micro IT operations globally for all 60 plus countries where we have got these supply chain operations going on. So that's all about Ingram Micro at high level. This is the business what we do. We will talk more about it, as we move forward.
Thank you, Anil, and that's the beauty of our session. I'm sure we don't find all this information on socials. We get to know more about the organization when some a leader like you specify that this is what the entire paradigm of the company is. Now, I'm sure people on the ground also would like to know one piece of information more, Anil. You did mention that Ingram has a significant location presence across global countries. Where all do we have centers in India for Ingram across pan-India locations? If you can share those places also, I think people would be interested about that.
Yeah. So again, from a core business point of view, right? When we talk about our supply chain, when we talk about distribution logistics centers, we have got logistics centers across 26 locations across India. We have multiple offices supporting these two. From a typical IT support point of view, we have centers in Mumbai, Pune, and Chennai. Okay,
Sure.
so that's our spread.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anil. And as they say, I think the visual memories are the most permanent memories. Why don't we have a sneak peek in the small video of Ingram Micro? Team at the backstage, if you can help and display that.
Technology transforms the world in ways that make life, well, a whole lot better. Cities are getting smarter and smarter. Now, things can actually talk to other things. They make things run more efficiently, and that's a pretty remarkable thing. Networks are so secure these days that they feel fully connected without the fear of getting shut down by others. And clouds have become far more interesting conversation pieces than the weather ever was. There's a technology company that enables all this exciting evolution. In fact, it has the ability to serve nearly 90% of the global population. Yet, you may have never heard its name. That's because from fast food to fast cars to fast internet, we're the company behind the companies that impact our world. We're Ingram Micro, and you might be surprised where you find us. Because we're there, enabling lives to get back to normal faster. We're there, creating the perfect dining experience, helping next-gen machines run as smoothly as possible, securing those who secure you, playfully moving today's technology into tomorrow, making education opportunities available to all. We're the business behind the world's biggest brands, connecting it all so you can continue to imagine what's next. And you'll never have a day without Ingram Micro.
And yes, we'll never have a day without Ingram Micro. Yes, for sure.
Exactly.
Thank you, team at the backstage.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Anil, I think now in next about 30 minutes of time, Anil, because this session is all about the candidates. As I mentioned at the start, we want to make this very basic, where candidates take a lot of information and there are more insights when they actually go out of this session and finally apply, in the entire process of Ingram Micro. That is to pass all this information, which they possibly would not get in any other forum. Now, with that, Anil, my first question I want to pass on to you is that in last about 5 years, we've seen the change of world happening, from X to Y, and a lot contributed by a pandemic, and then there's a IT speed that happened. A lot changed over a period of time. So because you've been there for about 20 years, you've seen that change, throughout your journey of 20 years of professionalism. In that, Anil, how the world has changed in the last 2 years, and how do you envisage as the leader of the world will continue to change in the next 2 years, especially the IT side of it? I'm sure people on the ground would like to know that.
So that's a great question. Okay, and if you really look back, okay, and you said 5 years, okay, but I'll say even if you look at last 2 decades, okay, the focus has been, that how can we bring in more and more automation through IT, right? And that's how can I really automate my processes? How can I really integrate my processes? How can I get different reports out of it, and then which will help me to make make certain decisions, okay, with which I'll be able to go ahead and take certain actions and keep improving my processes, keep improving my business, so that I will have a higher revenue, higher margins, and everything, blah blah blah, right? So that's always been an intent, okay, from an IT automation point of view, and that's why if you see there is a lot of ERP software, CRM softwares, okay, then there are SRMs, okay, so. Okay, just to elaborate more, right? So basically enterprise resource planning or customer relationship, supplier relationship, okay, or then integrating these different applications, then having some basic analytics around it, okay, having certain reporting tools, okay. So there are a lot of applications, okay, the standalone applications which were there to automate our processes, right? And with that, okay, and with that automation, I can achieve a better performance improvement, okay, better some optimization of the processes, better performance improvement. That was my goal, okay, and that's how the industry evolved over this period of time. what really happened in last 5 6 years, okay, the change is from moving from the standalone applications to the digital transformation. I think that's a big change. What has really changed with from IT automation? People get confused with this IT and digital, okay, because everybody thinks it's same, and in reality, yes, from a Oxford dictionary perspective, it is same. There is nothing much difference, right? But from a understanding perspective, what has really changed is, we have moved from this automation to digital transformation. Means at one point in time, we were looking at this all this automation and reporting to enable me to take certain decisions. Okay, and now we are looking at how can decisions can automatically be taken and the processes can be completely get automated, and we do it without minimum intervention, human intervention. So that has become a new goal, right? New mantra. And if you look from that perspective, okay, for that automated decision making, now I'm not just looking at automation, automating the processes or integrating different softwares, okay, or making just processing faster data. That's not just my goal. I'm now really looking at how can I really take decisions automatically. Okay, what can I do? Okay, can I use artificial intelligence? Can I use machine learning? Okay, is there anything around robotics which could be there? Can I have digital platforms, right, with which I can have a complete capture of data? It's not just transaction capturing, it is going beyond that and enabling, not only enabling the decision, actually system taking the decision and taking further actions. So that has drastically changed the IT landscape over a period of time. What has happened is, with this digital transformation, if you really see, while it is good that we want to have minimum human intervention, but then from an access point of view, right, we have to still capture all the information about the individuals, okay, so that they can provide those automate those accesses and we can take it forward. But this has also given rise to data privacy. Right? I'm sharing to automate my complete financing process. I want to automate my payment process, and that's where I'm entering my credit card information. It is already there. System will do all the checks and process my credit card, and payment will be done. But in that process, I'm sharing my information, my credit card information, my address, lot of things, right? So there are these data privacy issues, right? Similarly, the other part is the cyber security, right? Also, there are cyber security frauds. We all are hearing, right? And that's where now with this change, okay, this moving, while there is a still big demand for ERPs, CRMs, SRMs, we still have so many portals. But now with artificial intelligence, with machine learning, now we also have this cyber security related support we need, data privacy related support we need. Analytics has completely changed. Now no more people are just looking at reporting, they are looking at predictive analytics, right? So this is the big change, right? And that's where the skill set requirement had changed drastically because of that. At one point in time, you go to market and everybody's like, SAP is there, okay, Oracle is there, okay, I'm Microsoft Dynamics there. There are so many, applications, okay, developers, okay, functional consultants. They were all very prime candidates in the market. But now, if you look at AI developers, okay, people who are learning or working on machine learning, okay, people who have cyber security knowledge, all of those skill sets have taken a prominence. Okay, analytics has taken a analytics has become a big area, right? Everybody is looking at, how can we really capture all the data together, process it, and do certain predictive analytics out of it, which will help me making the decisions, right? So that's where the IT landscape has completely changed, in my opinion. And that's how even the skill set requirements accordingly has also changed.
Correct. And I think people who are listening to that, I'm sure they make notes and they try and get to those, element of skills that you just mentioned to move forward in their career. Now, on the same line, Anil, the change of landscape. I also want to ask one question to you with respect to the volume, from a technology standpoint. I also see a sentiment in the market that, we had about 2 years, which were very bullish in terms of technology hiring, significant numbers. We've seen at least IT landscape 10 times hiring done about last 1 year, 2 years of time, just after the COVID time. And now it's like a slightly stabilized market. I wouldn't say it has gone down, it's a stabilized market right now. How do you envisage this trend to continue in the next 2 years? Do you think it's going to have a spike again, or you think it's going to be stabilized and normal from here on?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, obviously the COVID disruption. Okay, the COVID disruption continued in and we were trying to stabilize from that. That happened in 2022. That continued in 2023 also, right? At the same time, right, last year we also saw further impacts because the semiconductor supply chain got disrupted, because of which automobile and the allied industries got disrupted. Even Ukraine invasion by Russia, okay, that's why our food and energy security supply chain got disrupted. So all of these got an impact, and there was a inflation because of that. And so this impact continued, but with all that, if you really see, the industry really reshaped, okay, and they focused on digital transformation, okay, investment on digital transformation, acceleration. That's why there was a boom, okay, and the technology industry really gained because of that. If you really see, last 2 years, okay, because there was a remote working, because there was a need, that we were not able to go out, not really attend offices, not meet people and do business, okay, everything was being remote, okay, all the requirement for all the digital hardware, software, everything was big, right? And technology industry benefited because of that. So last 2 years were really good in terms of that. Both the technology industry, the service in the IT service industry, who provided all those applications, support, everything, everybody got benefited. Now what has happened is, well, once you have reached that peak, okay, of course there is going to be a trough, okay, there is going to be some going down, okay. That cycle is going to happen, and that's why you see certain downward cycle, okay, wherein the demand has slightly gone down, but it does not mean that this will continue for a long. Obviously the demand is again going to go up, because uh, whatever hardware purchases which has happened, okay, the software purchases which has happened, okay, and then now they need more further revision. Similarly, the hardware assets has to be refreshed, okay, so that requirement will again come up, and that's how again the technology industry will again again will boom. You will see the boom. If you refer to the NASSCOM report recently, okay, they have mentioned that in 2023 our technology industry, including hardware, will reach around $245 billion business, which is going to be around 8.4% year-on-year growth. Okay, so that's a positive sign, right?
Correct.
That the boom will continue. Okay, yeah, in some of the industries, okay, which have got impacted in this process because of, as I just mentioned about semiconductor industry supply chain, because of his automobile getting impacted. So the automobile and relevant industries are going to have certain problems because of that, right? Okay, and then because of that, the job opportunity in those markets, okay, and their dependent in industries are going to have certain impact. But overall, while there is a slight decline in requirement as of now, I think in next 2 years again things are going to pick up, and things should be again looking good.
Yeah, so I think that's a positive sentiment that things will continue to shape up, and there's no dearth of opportunity with Ingram Micro for sure. Now, on this chapter, Anil, we'll talk more about exactly the opportunities with Ingram. So, if you can specify, some of the portion of the hiring, which is happening within Ingram, which are those BUs and the kind of skills that you are hiring the most, and people who are joining, I think these are the aspirants. They will make notes and try and apply for the same positions.
Yeah, so I will like to cover this part in more detail, okay? Because as I mentioned, Ingram Micro core business is supply chain, distribution and logistics of IT products, right? So of course our focus is on sales and warehouse management, right? And if you look at from a sales perspective, obviously we have two types of opportunities within our sales teams, right? It is one side it is account management, other side is business development. What it means, account management is basically customer centric, right? Every account manager, every sales associate will have around maybe 30 to 40 different accounts, assigned to them, and their main goal is for the revenue and collection part of it, right? How can I generate more and more revenue and also do the collection, right? So my focus is going to be around that. So, and it's more customer centric. Whereas if you look at the business development team, these are the people who are more vendor centric. We are dealing with all these different vendors, OEMs, right? Whether it is Cisco, HP, Dell, and there are so many more. Or even if you look at even the software companies, right? So all of these companies, okay, when we are working with them, it's important that this business development team are like a subject matter experts. Okay, they know, if let's take an example of Cisco, so they will know all Cisco portfolio, all Cisco products, okay, their usage, okay, their fitment for different processes and everything. So they will be able to guide, okay, our customers for that. Okay, so while our account management team is working on the revenue part, on the orders and everything, if they need more details about a particular product, that's where they will go to the business development team and take expertise for them. Okay, why? And as Ingram Micro, when we work with different industries, okay, when we work with our customers, okay, it could be either directly through the channel, or we are also sometimes reaching out to the sometimes we're also reaching out to corporate customers, okay, corporate institutions, or it could be hospitals, universities, colleges, right? Those are also some of our end customers, okay, for whom we will service. And while offering products to them, it's not necessary that we'll focus on only on one product, right? We may provide them HP servers with Cisco networking, Dell laptops, okay? So a combination. That expertise is with us, right? If customer wants to decide, okay, what I need, okay, they may not know, okay, which products from which brand are really suitable, useful for. We have this expertise, and that's what we work out, right? When we prepare our RFP, we give that complete bundle together and we offer it to them, and that's for both hardware and software together. So this is typically from a sales point of view, when we look at our core competence area, a core business, what we look at, right? At the same time, in India, we also have our IT division, right, which supports our corporate IT, supporting all the Ingram Micro countries, where in 60 plus countries where we have a warehouse operations, right? So all these countries, we provide the IT support. Now, if you look at these people, okay, so now this is not typically the developer community. Okay, generally when in India, when companies set up their center, they call it as the offshore center, right?
Correct.
But here in India, for Ingram Micro, it's not a offshore center, or it's not a shared service to the back office, right? It is not. It is the global delivery center. Okay, so whatever initiatives, okay, whatever programs Ingram Micro need, okay, to support their business, okay, whatever automation or digital transformation we have to carry out, all those projects, okay, will be done by our corporate entity, which is wherein Ingram Micro India shared services team is also part of it, will be part of those projects, and we will be delivering it. So we will not only have only developer roles, okay, typically in offshore center you see you have only developers, right? But we will have all subject matter experts, solution architects, okay, program managers, project managers, delivery managers, okay, data architects. All of these different roles, okay, are also played within this team. Okay, so when we talk about the opportunities, when we talk about the different job roles, these are the different job roles what we have within Ingram Micro. Whether it is from a core function point of view, from a sales point of view, or whether it is from a IT point of view.
Sure, sure. And the other part, Anil, which everybody would like to know is, what is the evaluation process? So, for example, every company follow a different process. Many company has 2 rounds of interviews. Some companies have 4 rounds of interviews. What exactly works with Ingram, if you can emphasize on that? And while explaining that, if you can also explain as to what interview round evaluates what in a candidate. I think that gives a lot of clarity to people on the ground.
Yeah, so typically in Ingram Micro, we have this two rounds of interviews, as we call it. Okay, the first round, which is basically on our technical evaluation, yeah, and then there is a HR evaluation which happens. But when we talk about technical evaluation, and that is more from a job perspective, what job you are supposed to do. Okay, and so there we check their technical excellence or subject matter expertise, and then sometimes, okay, from beyond, while we will have a technical evaluation coming from a technical panel based in India, sometimes if the subject matter expertise or is sitting outside India, either in US or some other country, we may also have another round coming from somebody expert and also evaluating you, okay, for your technical expertise. Once you clear this, so it could be either one or two rounds, and once you clear this, then you move to the HR round, wherein you will have your basically your communication skill, your behavioral skills, all of those things are checked. Now, what we really look for in the candidates, right, when we carry out these interviews, okay, so it's, while technical excellence, subject matter expertise is must, okay, that it has to be there, okay, to perform your job. But at the same time, okay, we also believe and we also look for, we call it as 6 tenets of success for Ingram Micro. Okay, so what are those 6 tenets of success? So what we really look for is a certain characteristics like being result oriented, having a integrity, responsibility, innovation, right, and talent. Okay, so and being courageous. So these are 6 tenets of success, as we call it, and every Ingramite believes in that. Every Ingramite works towards it. Okay, to give their 100%, right? And whosoever we are going to onboard, we also check for these qualities. Another angle is, while we are working in India, okay, and on one side I'll keep aside our sales team, okay, which typically works for our India business, right? But at the same time, our IT team, which is supporting and working for the global Ingram Micro countries, okay, providing them the IT supports and IT projects, right, delivering IT projects for them. Communication skill is also equally important, right? Both written and verbal. Why it is important? Because you are dealing with different nationalities. Okay, we are delivering projects for 60 plus different countries. Okay, spread across all the continents, right? So different nationalities, different languages, different cultures. Okay, and most of the time these discussions are remote, right? Not necessarily every time, in your one-to-one physical meeting, the way you can convey message, okay, not necessarily while being remote you can convey the similar message. And that's why it's very important, your communications is very important, right? So we check all of these aspects, okay, with our candidates, when we are interviewing them. But yes, to coming back to your question, it is typically 2 or 3 rounds, one or 2 rounds, basically to assess their technical expertise, okay, and their communication skill, their presentation skill, all of these. And on the other side, then there is a HR round. So that's how it has been worked out.
Sure. Many time, Anil, in some of the forums where I have participated, I've seen some of the candidates asking this question, especially in the technology domain. Now, one, technology is a ever evolving kind of industry. You add number of skills every now and then. I think that's how technology changes. On the second side, because it's changing so drastically, many times people know it academically that yes, I have learned all that, but I never got a chance to do that on the job. So when you evaluate a candidate, a technical guy, how much weightage is given to the theoretical part of the understanding, which is the academia side, and how much is the core technical expertise somebody has leveraged while on the job? Because many people struggle with that whether I've got this opportunity to be leveraged or not, I think depends on the job that I'm currently in. So how do we balance that, in Ingram when you evaluate people on?
Yeah, so obviously, as you rightly you use the word balance, right? This is both your theoretical knowledge and your experience both has to be balanced. Okay, both are equally important. Okay, when if you look at, if you look at a core competence area, okay, which is basically our supply chain and distribution logistic business, and if you look at our sales team, obviously we look at people who have got experience in this industry, because knowing the domain is key. Knowing the knowing different products, okay, knowing how typically IT OEMs work, their portfolio, how this has to be to how this has to be sold, how to apply those different pricing techniques, okay, how to apply, how to really negotiate for discounts and all those things, how those contracts really work, okay. What are the different parameters to taken to be considered. So all of these things, knowing it is important. Okay, so obviously you cannot start just with, I have a theoretical knowledge about the product. That doesn't help. Having the complete understanding complete understanding about the business aspect of it is also equally important, right? And that is where we give more importance to experience, to knowledge, okay, specifically for our sales team. Obviously once they bring this knowledge to us. But again, there are different levels, right? We have our sales team starting from, as a sales associate, becoming a senior sales associate, account manager, and then sales manager, regional manager, group manager. So there is a big growth plan for them, right? So of course, the sales associates who start with, they may have a lesser experience, but they will have a good still we expect, some good understanding about at least one of the products, that once, or one of the brand, right? So once they join, we will give them the exposure to learn more about the other brands, their portfolios, and we'll see and we evaluate how they really understand between these different brands, how they can really take how they can take it forward from there, right? So that's where their experience and knowledge played out. Whereas when it comes to IT side of it, right? IT side of it, knowing that programming, developing skills is very important, right? So you may have a programmer, okay, with zero work experience, but having an excellent knowledge about programming, having an excellent knowledge about, having that logical thinking, how to really put different, how to really loop and really connect different different aspects of a business through programming, so the person who has got this good understanding, even with lesser experience, can do miracle. Okay, so this is where many a times we are seeing all our newcomers, okay, with a good programming knowledge, without very minimal or zero experience, can also do wonders. Okay, so again, it depends on which stream we are talking about. Okay, and accordingly we weigh that, and that's why if you look at our for our IT side of it, we'll work a lot for, through our campus interview program. Okay, we select a lot of people through campus interviews. We provide, specific trainings to them. Okay, we train them, both theoretical training as well as on the job training, and we get them ready. Okay, so, and that's how they gain experience over a period of time. So while balancing between this theoretical knowledge and experience with different teams, it has to be played differently and used accordingly.
Sure, sure. And interestingly, Anil, our Gen Z millennials, I think they're quite impatient. They want to grow the very next day they join. On that, I have a question. What is the career progression program in Ingram Micro, both horizontal and vertical?
So, what can you repeat that? What is
Yeah,
the?
so I'm asking that what is the career progression program in Ingram Micro for candidates that once they join, how do they grow? What's the process of growth inside the company?
Okay, so now, so let me take a step back, okay, and give you some understanding about, different job roles and
Yeah.
functions within Ingram Micro. Okay, the best thing about Ingram Micro is, having operations in so many countries. Okay, the job roles, job functions. Okay, so we have a global job roles and functions. Okay, and there is a complete alignment. Okay, we call it a global job alignment. Okay, so a associate level at India or at as Australia, at USA, at Singapore, or at Chile, Colombia, is one, the level is same, right? The expectations are same, the job functions are very same. Okay, and that's why, in fact, Infosys also opens a big opportunity, for our associates. When they join, they can also apply for, if given opportunity and if there is an opening, they can also apply for same level at any other country within Ingram Micro portfolio. Okay, that is also possible. So when we talk, coming back to the job progression, right? So when once we so many times, okay, our freshers join at a entry level program, they get trained, okay, and from there they have a opportunity to to start their career as a developer first, okay. From a developer, then they move on to the next level, wherein they have an opportunity to do these developments independently, okay, on their without any monitoring, without any support. They can do this development on their own, okay. So that's the next level. Then there will be a stage while doing all this development. Am I doing this development only with my own design, or somebody else is telling me this is the design and you do a program development? The moment I get into that stage wherein at least I can design something and then develop, okay, that's where I reach the next level. Okay, so that's my next goal. But my design has to be but then my design has to be validated by somebody else, right? And that makes a difference. So that's my next level. Then I reach to a level wherein I can design myself as well as I can also validate designs of others, and that's where I have become a solution architect. Now I'm also validating designs for others. So that's the next level of development, and we have our job levels accordingly set, okay, and that's where the people keep have their career progression at the same time. So you can grow from a developer to a senior developer to a solution architect, and can also become a guru in that space, right? At the same time, there are people who can also take a path of, okay, now I'm also doing development, but I also wanted to manage a team, and that's where people management skills comes into picture. And then there are people who are start taking interest and start taking start participating in how projects can be managed. Can I become a project leader? Can I become a project manager? Can I become a delivery manager? Okay, so that's the people management and project management stream. So this is how typically people grow in this, right? Just to give you an example, I'm with Ingram Micro for last 8 years now, and I myself, okay, when I joined, I was handling SAP, and then this company has offered so many different variety of roles and responsibilities, and that is the beauty of working here. Okay, every now and then you get opportunities, you get different projects which will really test your skills, and test your skills from all angles. It's not just technical skills, it is also your design skills, it is also your managerial skills, it is also your people management skills. All of these things get tested. Okay, I think that is where it makes unique as compared to other companies, other organizations. And that's why, and at the same time, right, you have done certain thing for a particular country, okay, and you get a different experience. Same thing doing for another country with different nationalities, different things, and then with different requirements, okay, because those countries laws, those countries statutory requirement, everything is different, and then the whole game changes. Okay, you have to look at it differently, you have to provide a completely different solution. So that is where you start, even if you start managing things, you start managing from a least complex to the much more complex things, right? And that's how your growth gets defined. So this is the company with a lot of opportunities, lot of growth, okay, and in India, outside India, everything together.
Wonderful, Anil. And Anil, my next question. I know that Ingram does a lot on employee engagement and the organization culture. If you can also shed a light as to what all engagement programs and how do you drive that engagement in the organization, plus some of the initiatives that you drive, like a diversity inclusion, the ESR programs, that's something like building a culture in the market. So if you can emphasize that and talk more about, I'm sure people on the ground would be interested to understand that.
Yeah. So when we again, Ingram Micro is a company, okay, which is what do you call it? Equal opportunity company. Okay, there is no discrimination. Okay, in terms of employment. Okay, when we talk about, so it's a company which believes in the principles of DIE. Yeah, so it is diversity, equity, inclusivity completely. Okay, so we don't look at people from a perspective, or we don't discriminate from the point of view of gender, or from a language, nationality, religion, caste, okay, sex orientation, nothing of that sort, right? It's everything about, do you have a capacity and capability to deliver what we are expecting, and do you have those skills, and do you have that passion to do this? Okay, that is what we look for. So any of these parameters I mentioned doesn't really doesn't really impact us, and that's why Ingram Micro focuses on imbibing this culture in every associate on DI part of it, right? And from our employee engagement point of view, also we always emphasis on this particular part. Okay, that there is no discrimination from this perspective. If you are performing, this is the place for you to grow, right? At the same time, as an organization, we are also committed for the society also, right? For the society, for the environment, and that's why we also took up all these ESG related initiatives, right? Whether it is your environment protection, or your social governance, and that's why we carry out a lot of engagement, employee engagement program, wherein we encourage our associates, okay, to come together and then celebrate things like, recently we had this one associate, one tree kind of a forum, wherein we distributed tree samplings, okay, to our plant samplings to our associates, okay, so that they can take care of it. Okay, we also have a lot of engagement programs only meant for women, okay, for our female employees, for our female colleagues, okay. Recently we had a program. By the way, we are also had tied up with NASCOM and NASCOM Women Visa program. Okay, so we also encouraged our female associates, to join this program and participate and grow. Okay, and then there are a lot of we have this community called a Josh community, and through which we carry out a lot of entertainment activities within the company. Recently, we also had some kind of a fun fair, okay, within our Mumbai campus. Okay, so a lot of these employee engagement programs are happening, but all the time keeping in mind DI, ESG. So all of these things. Okay, we also respect LGBTQ community. Okay, and we also encourage. We have these associates who are part of this community. We also have specially abled associates, okay, who are working with us and doing great, doing phenomenal job, right? So I think overall, Ingram Micro always encourages these things, but also believes in all this ethical way of working, and that's why I think last couple of years we also won this Great Place to Work award. So that's the great thing about Ingram Micro.
Wonderful. I am sure with the entire capsule of information that you just mentioned, Anil, this actually attracts a lot of talent and piqued in a lot of interest from the people who are actually joining the session today. At this time, Anil, because we are about to close the session, I'm going to take some questions from the audience. I can see something on my chat window. I'm not going to repeat some of the stuff that we've already answered. One of the questions that somebody asked in the forum, are we still hybrid, or we are, completely work from office or work from home operations in Ingram?
So yeah, looking at our business style, right? We are basically warehouse management supply chain company, right? So obviously presence in office is a key, right? To carry out some of the operations, the physical presence is a must. So if you look at from our core business, okay, for them it is obviously the office working and not really hybrid working. But at the same time, for our IT team, we still allow hybrid working. Okay, wherein people can come to office for 2-3 days, and for a few days they can work from home. So that is something, but that is typically for IT team. It is we still allow, because that doesn't really impact our business operations as of now. But as the need that can be changed, and of course I can at the same time, everybody talks about, yes, hybrid working or remote working gives you a lot of comfort, but at the same time, this office culture, office environment, it also encourages you, okay, to be more productive, okay, being with your colleague, discussing with them. Whenever I work from home, right? It's like once I'm stuck to the laptop, and once I'm working, I'm all the time on the meetings. Okay, I forget to even get up from my desk. Okay, I forget to even go for my lunch. The moment you're in office, you have a specific lunch time. Okay, so you go for a lunch. You have your tea breaks, cigarette breaks, everything, right? And then there is chit chat, and then there is always a break. Okay, so in fact, okay, it gives you a good much better way of working, okay, rather than just being working all the time from home. So while we allow both, okay, I will always find it's good to working from office whenever possible.
Yeah, thank you. The other question we have from the audience, Anil, is that does Ingram Micro enable switching careers within different business functions? So, for example, if I am working in technology as a function, I want to pursue my career in sales after spending some time. Is that available and possible in Ingram?
Yes, this is possible in Ingram, okay, and I really get amazed, okay, but the kind of flexibility it has offered, and not one or two, there are many examples within Ingram Micro, and that's why I was just mentioning, right? People working here doing certain job roles can apply for similar or different job role depending on their skills, only depending on the skill, not necessarily they have the complete experience, but just having that skill, they can work, okay, globally in any other Ingram country, okay, moving into the similar or moving on the same level. That is possible. One of the big example is recently our HR head has moved into a sales
Yeah.
function, and she's managing our sales business. Okay, it's a big transition, right? And I think that clearly shows, okay, if at such a high level, okay, we can take this kind of decision. It is applicable for all our associates. Okay, anybody can, depending on the opportunity, depending on the opening, can move to from IT to sales to anything else, marketing or some other job roles, or even to HR. Okay, so
Mhm.
so so it's a ocean of opportunities. Everything is open.
Wonderful. So, Anil, I would love to continue and ask many more questions, but with the paucity of time, we may just close our discussion here. Thank you so much, Anil, for coming out here, taking time and spending so much of time in explaining all the information that is not available on socials. We really appreciate that. And I think that's the beauty of our event, that whatever information that you've shared, this information is not available anywhere. So people at the candidate side, they get all this first-hand information, and they are well prepared for any round of interview that will happen down the line for the opportunity within Ingram. For all the candidates, all the aspirants who are joining this session, my humble request is, in case you have any questions after the event, please post your question in the chat window. All the aspirants who want to apply in the current job openings within Ingram, you please post your profiles at careers@tag.in. We'll be happy to revert back to you and take your candidature forward in the current process. With that, thank you so much, Anil, and thank you everyone for joining this event. We look forward to host another event and have another great dialogue happening very soon. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye bye.